some of them are mind-altering substances, and others are sort of mind-suppressing substances. So we're really more comfortable. It was interesting that the word mental health, which I grew up in, got changed into behavioral health. Behavioral health means don't be a pain in the ass.
Conform. Yeah, it's conformity.
Mind disappeared. It's all, are you being a difficult person or not? Let me give you a drug so you can conform and not cause any trouble. That's not really what psychedelics drugs are for. They're really mind-expanding drugs. They really give you a new perspective on life. And that's, yeah. I'm also, I'm not feeling frivolous about psychedelic drugs. I think they're very powerful agents, and I'm worried that once they get legalized, that people will do the same thing as what happened in the 60s, and people will use them all the time under uncontrolled conditions, and you'll see all kinds of side effects. They're powerful agents for good and ill, and we happen to study them under extremely careful conditions.
Can you describe the controlled conditions for us, for the listener?
Oh, the conditions were that we get to know people very well. They have two therapists who they meet with for very long periods of time. When they take MDMA or in their substance, they come in for a whole day. There's no interruptions. Two people are with them the whole time. At the end of the day, somebody can bring their dog or their lover can come in. They can stay overnight. The next day, the therapists come back and talk extensively about what the experience was like. So we spend an enormous amount of energy on processing what happens during these experiences so that people really, their mind actually grows because they have therapeutic contacts. And people had dramatic changes. We just had the psychedelic conference in Denver with very large numbers of people. And some people actually who were in our study put up a symposium where they talked about their own experience. And they talked in great detail how what we actually put in the papers didn't begin to cover the astonishing internal changes that they had gone through. For example, one of the panelists is a cardiologist who felt chronically suicidal, very bad trauma history. And she said, I always was a cardiologist, but now because of MDMA, I'm also a heart doctor. Because I can work with the heart, and my heart was opened. So heart has two different meanings, and she got the other meaning of heart because of the MDMA.
Wow. Is it just MDMA that's showing high levels of efficacy? I mean, there's increased amounts of psychedelic tourism going to places like South America, like ayahuasca and treatments like this. Are there other?
You see, we don't know what the best drug is at this point. So it's all, some people benefit from ayahuasca, but you hear also bad stories sometimes. And we don't know what the best drug is for any particular thing. That's slowly emerging. So at Johns Hopkins, people have studied psilocybin for depression and stuff. And so people say, oh, psilocybin is good for depression. It hasn't been studied for PTSD. We happen to use MDMA for PTSD. And so we said, now MDMA is good for PTSD. It may also be good for depression. And so it all depends on how the data are just beginning to emerge out of the field. And what's nice about the field right now is that a lot of us say we don't know. And as long as you be in a frame of mind where you don't know, you're open-minded. When people pretend to know, they start closing their minds. So right now the field is really very open.
It seems like everything that you've espoused, underlying it, and I think I know a little bit around having researched your work, but underlying, like even with psychedelics work, they give, the person, the observer, the space, and there's a space that's presented for self-compassion ultimately. Same thing with yoga, like you need a little bit of like taking out some space to give yourself the time to, go, move, work out. Even therapy, EMDR, like it seems like can you describe the important, like maybe describe self-compassion and the importance of self-compassion when approaching this body of work?
Yeah, I think that's really maybe the most important question for us to talk about, and that is when you get traumatized, you tend to really have a lot of trouble with yourself and tend to feel like I was too weak. I should have stood up for myself. I should have fought back. I should have done. And there tends to be a lot of internal self-blame and shame about what happened to you. And no amount of rational explaining it wasn't your fault makes a big difference. But on MDMA, what we saw all the time is people experience themselves back then. There's something about these substances that allows the brain not to not feel the pain, but to localize the pain at a particular time, at a particular space. And you go like, oh, I was so little. And I loved my daddy. And then he did this to me, and I didn't know what to do. Today I would know how to do, but this poor kid was so confused about what was happening, and I wish I'd known then what I know now, because I would have been able to defend myself. But it was a beautiful child to whom this happened. It happened to be me. And that's not where it stops. The most striking finding of the MDMA study to me was the increase in self-compassion and tolerating what you had gone through. Shame went down, self-blame went down, and the next thing, people say things like, oh, and my violent alcoholic father, I feel so sorry for him. I was this really cute child, and he never got to enjoy what a beautiful kid he had. And so the compassion doesn't only go to themselves, it even extends to the people who caused all that pain. Like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.